Hello beings, welcome to the experience. My name is Experiencia Flamino. And today you will see here the screen time challenge, and you can take part in this challenge. But before that, I would kindly like to ask you to leave a like here to help my work. I will be very happy. This helps more than you can imagine. And comment Pucarondas. That's also very important. Well guys, what is this screen time challenge? Some time ago here on the channel I made a video, I'll link it in the card, with the purpose of making people watch fewer short videos to spend less time on their phones. And there, I created a protocol that helps you reduce this gradually in an easier way. This video reached a lot of people thanked me. There are several cool stories there from people who managed and are still managing to follow the protocol I shared. And this video here is already a step further for those who don't know. And I noticed in the video that some people don't really realize how harmful it is to keep looking at your phone screen, whether it's watching short videos, long videos, or chatting on WhatsApp. Whatever it is, it's harmful, and there is a lot of data to prove it. Brazil, for example, has the second highest screen time in the world. That's a lot of people glued to their phones. The average Brazilian spends 9 hours of screen time per day. That's a lot of time. Do you realize that's the average? That means there are people who use less and people who use even more for that to be the average. 9 hours a day. That's a big percentage of the time we're awake during the day because we still have to sleep, right? So let's try to do some math here to see about how much time we're wasting. But I'm not a fan of doing math. Let's do this with someone who's better at math than I am. The ITA engineer here, look, there's no one better than him to do the math here, so man, what do you think? Here's the thing, you have to do the math right. I found out that the average Brazilian they spend about 9 hours a day of screen time on their phone. How many hours would that be in a year, roughly?
So, 9 hours a day, let's consider 365 days, that's 3,285 hours a year. Wow, that's a lot.
What's impressive is how fast you do the math. That's already like a lot of time. You can do a lot of things in 3,285 hours. How much would that be over 5 years? Can you calculate it quickly?
Times 5, that would be 16,425 hours.
Whoa man, no way. I'm going to grab a phone because I'm going to do the math here on the calculator. Those numbers he's coming up with must be wrong. No man, I'll trust you fine. Just because you got into ITA.
So let's go.
16,425.
16,425.
16,000 inclusive.
If we do the math, I studied 15 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 years. That's how long it took me to get into ITA. If we do the math, 15 times 7 times 3 times 5 times 3, it comes out to exactly 16,425. So if you, wow, this screenshot, exactly.
The time?
Exactly the same. If you take the screen time you use, like 9 hours a day, and apply it to studying, you'll probably get into ITA.
Oh my God, man. How many things can you do with those 16,000 hours besides getting into ITA? But wow, that's a lot of time, man. Yeah, pretty much. You have to do math quickly to get into ITA.
Yeah, it's important.
Really?
Not only at ITA, but especially at ENAM and other entrance exams people mock.
For anyone interested, look, I'll leave his social media here. He talks a lot about entrance exams, about how to get better at math. He even has a course.
Yeah, let's go.
The guy is good. Well, basically, with 5 years of screen time, you could finish a college degree. You could also reach an advanced level in a musical instrument. You could learn to sing too. With that amount of time, you could also become fluent in a language. That screen time is less than the time I spent getting my channel to 1 million subscribers. Well, I think it's clear that's a lot of time, right? So what did I do? I gathered friends from the same circle, all of whom work online, to do a challenge. A tough challenge to reduce screen time for 30 days. Look, everyone is here now, showing their screen times from the day of the week with the most screen time. So, look, Guys is at 9 hours, Uniques is at 4 hours, but he only started using this app recently, so it's only been tracking recently. Mine is at 7 hours, Eris's is also at 7 hours, and Andressa has 2 phones. Oh my God, hold on.
Mine will be about 9.5 hours.
5 on one, no 3 on one, and 5 on the other. Oh man.
Not counting the others.
Rocates is at 10, man, that's a lot too, right?
That's more than mine, huh?
He only did it for me, relax.
That's more than mine, you know? Rotate.
How much time do you think you waste on your phone?
So, I'll say it right here. I was one of the people who told Flamino that I really wanted to do this experiment because I feel like it's been affecting my life a lot. I'm a very anxious person. I like to do a lot of things at the same time, and sometimes when you want to do too many things at once, you end up doing nothing. And I noticed, especially after I got back from my trip, that man, I was there without any signal, and when I came back, I had a relapse and was right back on my phone, like a relapse in my phone use. Exactly. It's like an addiction, man. Because since I spent some time without using it and then came back with signal and everything, I had a crazy relapse where I spent an average of 10 hours in a week. And if you do the math, 10 hours a day in a week, how much is that? That's 70 hours.
Man, 70 hours, 70 hours.
That's wild. You've spent over 2 days on your phone. I noticed that, especially since we work with our phones, they take up a lot of our time without us realizing it.
So,
It affects my life a lot.
even being an influencer, right? Even being an influencer, I don't think that's an excuse.
No.
Anyway, my work interferes a lot with my life.
Yes.
You know? This is the time of day with the most usage.
So, it should be her usage, not the most usage.
Andressa.
No, I put it last week, huh?
No, you have to click on the day with the highest usage.
Yeah, it has to be the day with the highest number.
Look here, look here.
Look here.
There's one here that's 5 hours. 5 and 5.
Yeah.
You want to fool an addict.
I'm here with Andressa. She was in the other video I made about cell phone addiction. I think she's the person close to me with the worst addiction, so she's gonna be great for this experience here.
How nice, huh? Wow, so much excitement.
No, but you might be the person who inspires the most people.
I'm the best at something, right?
You're the best at being addicted. These days, how much do you think your phone takes up in your life?
A lot, really a lot. Because my phone is both my work, like I said in the other video, and it's really hard for me to disconnect because that would mean I'm also not doing very well at my job. So if my screen time goes up, sometimes it's because I'm working more, so it's something I can't really measure. So I think it really gets in the way and it's kind of taking my life away from me. It's like I feel that so many days, so many weeks go by and I'm just like, wow, all that time passed, how is that possible? I've already experienced not being addicted, like wow, this month was amazing, I really lived. You feel the difference when you're not, and then you're like, wow, I'm back to this. Damn, I got caught up again, then you stay in it. Highs and lows.
Roller coaster.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
I'm here with Yannick. We call Nicholas Durama, though I don't know why. And he also works here at Divulgando na Area 51. He also talks about Christianity on his social media. And a little bit about training too. Is there anything in, I don't think there will be, right? Because like the Bible is from a very ancient period. There won't be anything to say about this kind of subject, right? Do the people at the church you go to talk about this subject, about cell phone addiction?
Yes, they do.
They do?
Yes, in fact, it's a very current topic. It's widely discussed among churches, as incredible as it may seem. Seriously?
It is.
It seems like people have started to become more aware of this. Because mainly there's a passage in Matthew 6, 22 and 23 that talks about the eyes being the lamp of the body, right? He says something like this: if you absorb and consume light, you will be light. If you absorb darkness, you will be darkness. And if you absorb darkness, how great that darkness will be. And so, this is the church's warning. Watch what you are consuming.
Interesting. You can apply that to how much they consume too.
Yeah.
I'm here with Eris now. He's my neighbor, a friend for many years, and we're taking him to work out now. I feel like
Because of the pandemic, I stopped being as present physically and started living much more online.
this happened after the pandemic.
That's right, it went over 50%. So I feel like my life outside the internet is smaller. It's smaller than my digital life.
Wow, that's heavy, right? To stop and think that you're living more on the internet than in real life.
Man, sometimes I feel like, in fact, I'm using it more than I should and that I could be enjoying things in other ways, right? Offline ways, let's say. But sometimes I also catch myself thinking, well, we live in a society that's evolved toward this, that's developed technology for this. I come from engineering, from the tech field. So, on the other hand, I like seeing that and being part of this whole world of technology use.
He already has a kind of awareness regarding its use, right? He doesn't see it as only harmful. And obviously at NL.
Exactly.
Are you willing to cut back at least this month to encourage everyone?
No, for sure. I'm actually satisfied with my screen time, to be honest, especially compared to everyone else here. But I think it's possible to cut back, to remove some things, and show that by following a method we're going to show here, you can cut back, make adjustments, and have a slightly healthier online life, right?
Let's go then. So, are you willing to cut back during this period? For sure. Both to influence people and for you to see the difference in your own life?
For sure. I'm already going to apologize to you who follow me because this is kind of out of nowhere.
Historic moment.
Look, less screen time, the guys are playing over there, man.
Are you willing to cut down to influence people? Yes.
I say this, sorry to those of you who follow me, because by reducing my screen time, I'll also reduce the replies I give in DMs. I can't keep up with everyone. I appreciate the messages you send, but unfortunately today I just can't handle it. By reducing my screen time, I'll be even less able to keep up, so I'm asking for just 1 month.
So let's make this effort then.
Let's go. I think this experience is going to be amazing for us to really see the impact of what it means to influence people as well, to keep ourselves in check about that. I hope everyone who's watching this video also joins in and sees it. That's the plan. Anyway, that's it. Let's go.
And since you're here watching me, I challenge you to take part in this challenge too. And the rules are, you're going to invite a friend to join you in this because there needs to be that competitive aspect, that sense of public commitment. If you start a challenge alone and give up, no one holds you accountable. So you need to have someone with you, so if you give up, it really stands out. It becomes embarrassing, like failing. You won't want that. Admit that you couldn't do it. You'll have someone there taking on the challenge with you to motivate you, and you won't want to let that person down. The person who loses has to do a forfeit. Our penalty here, among people who work online and have a big audience watching, is to make a video admitting to being addicted, which is pretty unpleasant. Everyone agreed to this forfeit. You and your friend can choose your own. It has to be something that's really unpleasant, for both of you equally. Think of a penalty. There must be a punishment. If not, you simply give up. Shake hands, look. All right, you're just gonna keep racking up a bunch of screen time here, watching a bunch of videos, and that's it. Nobody pays anything. There has to be a penalty. Everyone has to do less than 7 hours a week, right?
On average, right?
On average, that's it. Whoever can't do it will have to post something on Instagram saying, I'm an addict and I'm trying to cut down, but I can't, right? That's the penalty. That goes for me too. Next week, we're going to cut it down to 5 hours, and we'll keep reducing it every week until we get to the week where it's just a weekly average of 3 hours.
This one's going to be tough.
Okay, look at everyone downloading the phone emulator. Us downloading, us buying the phone.
No, none of that. We can do it. The first week starts with 7 hours the next week, 5 hours the next week, 4 hours, and the next week 3 hours. You need to stay under that time, but there are exceptions. If you went a few minutes over because you were using Waze, which is screen time that you won't be looking at the whole time, or if it's something really necessary, you can let it slide. But if you go over by a lot, you can't let it slide, no. So do your best and feel free to share your experience here in the comments. Let us know if you managed to do it. And if you have trouble, if you already think it's going to be hard, I have that video I mentioned here, which helps you reduce it gradually. Though it's not very gradual, there will be a significant reduction over this month, since I know the average Brazilian spends 9 hours a day on screens. The video includes techniques that can help you. During all these weeks, all of us participating in this challenge shared reports about how we were feeling. And while all the participants are going through their first weeks, I'm going to talk a little about how this is harmful and maybe you didn't know about it.
Guys, this is the first week after Flamino's announcement that we're doing the challenge to reduce screen time. As incredible as it may seem, I actually increased my screen time here, but for this week, since it's 7 hours, my phone's average is hitting 6 hours and 10 minutes, something like that. But it's mostly because I've been making stories more often, so that ended up contributing to the increase in screen time. But for now, it's fine. I believe that, yes, I probably won't push it any further. Around 3 hours is when I'll really have to push myself. But for now, look.
Did you know that once you hit 5 hours of screen time a day, it becomes harmful regardless of what you're looking at on that screen? It could be a course, it could be a prayer, it could be a long video, anything. If you go over 5 hours a day, you already start to have negative effects because of it.
Good morning, everyone. It's officially my third day. I came to tell you that my sleep has changed so drastically that the difference was unreal. It feels like my mind doesn't have so much information to process anymore from so many videos coming in that it just shut down. And I slept really deeply, and I'm really shocked by that. I expected such a big change by the third day. I'm taking melatonin from growth, and I was taking a lot, but it wasn't having the same effect as it did when I first started taking it. And yesterday I just managed to sleep really deeply. I didn't wake up at all during the night, and that really shocked me. I was like, wow, this makes such a difference so quickly. Imagine what it can do in the long run if you stick with it, right?
One of the worst side effects of excessive screen time is the decline in sleep quality. Do you have any idea how important sleep is for our lives? The quality of our sleep not only improves our mental health, but also our physical health. It's no use having 6 or 7 hours of sleep and saying, oh, I'm sleeping a lot, if the quality of your sleep is terrible. You can't get restorative sleep. It's no use at all. Poor sleep quality can affect your memory, can interfere with your muscle gain, and can leave you kind of, if you know what I mean. It can mess up all your hormones, leave your cortisol completely out of balance, and then you'll have that feeling of stress and constant tiredness throughout the day. Sleeping poorly literally makes you dumber. All of this is just one of the side effects of too much screen time, which is when it affects your sleep, right? All of this that I mentioned only happens if you're sleeping poorly, but screen time affects other things too. Vision problems, which is kind of obvious, right? A sedentary lifestyle is also closely linked to screen time, because usually people aren't looking at a screen while they're doing activities, even though sometimes they are, right? But most of the time, people usually stop what they're doing and sit or lie down looking at a screen. Anxiety and depression are also highly correlated with screen time. Of course, there are many other factors and reasons that can cause someone to have anxiety or depression, but if you use screens too much, it will make the situation worse. If you already have a reason, it will get worse.
To be honest with you, for me, it was pretty easy. I didn't really change anything in my routine because I was already averaging about 5 hours, so I didn't change a lot of things, but the few things I changed, maybe even unconsciously because I was in the challenge, already made my screen time go down. So today, for example, it's Saturday. I'm here with 3 hours, I don't know if you can see it, 3 hours of screen time, and it's still only 5 in the afternoon. My average this week was 5 hours and 16 minutes. Look at that. But it was also a week when I worked a lot and used my phone a lot to create content.
There is a study that showed that the frontal cortex, which is the thinking part of our brain, our reasoning part, of course it is greatly affected by screen time, just like the brain of a drug addict is also greatly affected. So if you judge people who use drugs, if you spend a lot of time on screens, know that it's not that different. Honestly, depending on the drug, screen time can be worse.
And I noticed that there was a very drastic change in how much I used it, especially of Instagram. I wanted to use it, but I tried to stop myself from using it. It even sounds like a drug addict talking, but the fact that I managed to do it in that second week, I kind of proved to myself at that moment that I wasn't addicted, that I was nothing like that. But anyway, I'm bringing up this topic because I want to talk about it later on in the last week.
Just something to report. Last week I used it freely, so I had nothing to report. This week I already noticed that I had to make an adjustment because of one detail. I don't know if it's going to get harder, it's still easy this week, 2 days have already passed, it's pretty smooth. But there's a detail I have to adjust to. I'm here chatting on WhatsApp with a friend of mine, and then I just leave the phone there, and it stays there forever. The screen stays on, there's no screen lock, I hate screen lock. And then it keeps counting the screen time there. While I'm here making my coffee, it keeps counting screen time. So I just have to restrain myself about that. I'm not going to count that as screen time. I'm just going to pay attention to see if my phone is on while I'm in the conversation, but I think it's going to be fine. Besides that, everything's fine and I'm using it freely.
Well guys, today is Saturday, the end of the second week of the experiment. The goal for this week was 5 hours, and so far I'm here at 3:58. A good part of the time that I would use my phone for no real reason, let's say, I stopped doing that. Sometimes while waiting for the elevator, I check Instagram on my phone for no real reason. Often there wasn't enough time for it to load before the elevator arrived, so it was wasted. And the little game, right? I didn't have to cut it. I still have it here. Look, you can't really see it. This week I played for 6 hours. That's about an hour a day of leisure, right? And I didn't have to cut it. For this next week, I believe I won't need to cut it completely. I'll still be able to play the game a little bit, but I'll keep you updated, all right? See you, my friend.
This is the end of the second week, and here it's much easier because I'm not at home. We're spending a lot of quality time together, so it's much easier to stay away.
So
The first week was really hard. The second I went to my family's house, and I'm traveling a lot, so it's easier. I noticed my screen time increases when I work on my phone, and there's no way around it, right? But the challenge is more about cutting out unnecessary use, right? So I think it's working out, but I plan to go back home this week, so it's going to be the hardest week.
I think
Moving on to the third week, which was only 4 hours a day, it was a week that I managed to get through mainly because I traveled. So, see how travel and outside activities were what affected how much I used my phone the most. Because since we're all influencers who took part in this challenge, the biggest excuse is that we really work with our phones, but we actually work using the internet. But if on a trip, especially for work, because I traveled for work, my usage went down. So that means that my phone use really wasn't just about work, but actually about that famous cheap entertainment that I think everyone has. That daily dopamine hit you get from using your phone at home, whether you're an influencer or just someone dealing with the daily hustle, like anyone else.
starting from the third week, it started to get a bit more complicated because it was getting close to my average screen time. So I started having to watch myself in a way.
Because it started to get a bit complicated. Because although my routine is quite predictable, every now and then some events happen that really affect what I have to do.
I'm at the end of the third week of the 4-hour limit. It's still hard, honestly. I still keep trying to grab my phone all the time. Then I stop myself. Then sometimes I pick up the phone without even noticing. I still open the app. But since there are limits on everything, when I open it, there's a warning saying, do you really want to open it? It makes it easier for me to choose not to go in. But today something really different happened. I started watching Naruto again because I said, I'm going to watch something different that's not social media. And the feeling of watching it was totally different because I used to think Naruto was really slow. Like out of nowhere, it would show Naruto's foot, his head. It zooms in and after a long wait, they talk. Someone says something, but the slow transitions between scenes were unbearable. I lost patience. And today I just watched it and I didn't even notice it was at normal speed because I always used to watch it, I don't know, at the fastest speed Netflix allows here. Honestly, there's a big difference now. Like, my patience in being able to handle boredom, it's so much easier. Like, if I sit somewhere to wait for something, now I can just stare at the walls, I can just sit and wait. I feel calmer now instead of having that urge to grab my phone, you know? When I got rid of social media, it was like so much more peaceful, you know? I'm seeing life so differently now, it's crazy.
Something curious happened, you know, over these past few weeks. In the beginning, it was pretty complicated. Well, not really complicated, but I had to keep paying attention all the time to stick to the screen time we had set. Man, I had to be careful. I couldn't spend too much time on games here, couldn't spend too many hours on Instagram or TikTok, so I wouldn't go over the screen time limit, even though I knew I wasn't going to go over it because my average was below that. And this week, I'm not making much of an effort, really. Of course, what I'm keeping in check the most is playing games, not picking up my phone to play games. And the screen time is at 250, which is already lower than next week's, right? This here is the weekly average. If we look at today, which is the busiest day, it's at 227. Here's what I wanted to share. At first, this approach applies to many things in life, right? In the beginning, it's very hard. But after a while, as you keep doing it and paying attention to the details and gaining experience, eventually, as you understand how the dynamics and daily routine work, it becomes natural, it gets easier. This applies to screen time, to studying, to work, and to any goal you might have. A lot of people I see sometimes comment on the videos that they have trouble starting something, like I start studying and I get tired, I start doing something and I get tired, I can't last that long. Relax, it's just the beginning, it's just the start. Most likely you'll get used to it. It'll become part of your routine, it'll become part of your daily life, and you'll end up much happier. So be resilient in the beginning. That's my tip. And let's get ready for the last week soon, right? With 3 hours. This one is going to be challenging.
For some, it was harder. For others, it was easier. But still, during the last period with 3 hours of screen time, everyone felt it. If you stop to think about it, 3 hours isn't such a short amount of time. I'm 34 years old. I spent much of my life without a cell phone. So you could live your life. I understand that back then we didn't have a choice, right? And the need was actually smaller because nobody had one. So the pressure today is greater. There was more social contact, much more social contact. I think people were also mentally healthier, right? At least from what I remember. The things I did with my friends were healthier. Everything was much less digital. Even though video games already existed, wow, there's no comparison.
Today officially starts the last week, the 3-hour week. And for me, it's been the hardest. Today is Sunday, and the first day of the week, I'm already really anxious, especially because it's the day I stay at home. And they canceled the games here at my house, right? Every Sunday we have an RPG session. And today of all days, during the challenge, they canceled. And now I'm going to be alone at home.
After all these weeks in the last one, I realized how much the cell phone was affecting my life. It's hard to admit that you're addicted and just stop. Usually an addiction is something you can't just quit. And I thought, wow, I got through the first week, the second, the third. I'm not addicted or have a problem with my phone. But then in week 4, some personal problems happened. I drowned my sorrows. I used cheap entertainment, dopamine, as an escape so I wouldn't have to deal with my thoughts, so I wouldn't have to deal with my feelings.
And now I have to admit that it's hard. I'm having to cut back a lot. And by the end of the day, I've already used up most of it. So the time I feel like I'm cutting back the most is at night, before going to sleep. What I realize is that it's really harmful, right? Using it a lot before going to sleep is really harmful. I think it's the worst time to use it. I would like to report a side effect that only I had. I've never met anyone else who had it. But since this video will reach a lot of people, maybe someone will show up here with the same side effect I have. When I spend a long time looking at a screen before going to sleep, whether it's my phone, computer, or TV, I have something really bad happen when I wake up, which is I wake up blinking with dry eyes. It's like my eyes lose their lubrication. And then, even before I open my eyes, I know it's going to be really unpleasant. Then I get that feeling like there's sand in my eye. Then I open my eye. Sometimes it's just one, sometimes it's both, and I start blinking like this. But it really hurts, man. Then I start tearing up. And I spend about 3 days with blurry vision because of the dryness in my eye. Does anyone else have this? I don't know if anyone else has ever had this. I've never heard anyone talk about it. So I even bought some eye drops, which helps a lot, you know. But it's inevitable. Like when I wake up like that, I'll have blurry vision for at least a day in whichever eye was dry when I woke up. Very good. Bad. I've already realized that's because of screen time. And still, luckily I don't have any vision problems. I even thought about going to the doctor, but then I decided to search on the internet first. I saw a video explaining that it was because of screen time. Then I said, oh, let me do a real test. I kept looking at my phone before going to sleep with the brightness all the way up. Oh my goodness, when I woke up I realized that really was the cause. My God, it was so bad. Wow.
Yesterday, I nearly had a rebound effect and spent 2 hours on Instagram after avoiding it all week. And time kept passing and I couldn't get off it. It was like I wanted to make up for all the hours I didn't spend on it the other days and just consume it all right then. I'm like, wow, but I didn't want to be on my phone. I wanted to live, you know? Get off my phone. It's hard. Today it's really hard. I'm unsure how I'll spend the rest of my day.
I started reading a bit more at night. I'm used to reading a little in the morning, but I started doing more things at night. However, one of my goals, which was to interact more with people, I wasn't able to achieve. Actually, I just disappeared on people even though I let them know. I know there's no need for me to have my phone in my hand right now. But then I kind of don't say goodbye, I don't say goodnight to people. I realize that I have to cut off a lot of conversations quickly. Sometimes I get involved in a topic on WhatsApp, and I tell someone, hey, I have to go now. Cut down on my screen time, okay? Other than that, I don't see a big problem. I admit I do feel a little urge to use it, but it's really easy to put it aside. And I admit to you guys that it was hard for me too. And I didn't consider myself someone who was addicted. My screen time wasn't that high at first, right? It was an average of 5.5 hours a day. That's not that much. It's well below the average for Brazilians, but I still missed it, no matter what it is. And today I'm here at Area 51. And now let's analyze the screen times. Eris, you'll be the first. How was your screen time? Did you manage? Yeah, I did. You did? It was easier than I expected. I thought I'd struggle more. Really? Yes, honestly. Let's see how it looks here. Look, my first week was 4 hours. Right, the second 346. Wow, it was already pretty low. Right in the second week. The next one, 249. And 306, which is this week's, right? Oh yeah, that one doesn't count, right? So it was since you skipped a week there, actually. Oops, wait, it's coming out. That was tough. There you go. Doesn't it go back one more? Oh, it only goes back 1 month. Oh, but you managed to keep it low from the start then. Actually, my average was between 3 and 4 hours. Then, only the last one was a bit complicated because I spent a few days without internet and I had to work with the students.
Cell phone. And then that made my screen time go up. It wasn't because of anxiety, you know?
Did your Instagram and social media time go down?
Yeah, actually what I noticed is that I used Instagram a lot to chat. So for me, that was the social network that went down the most. So the people I used to talk to, instead of using WhatsApp, I used Instagram. So my conversations with people went down a lot, you know, because of Instagram.
I see. Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Come on, let's go see Andressa. Andressa, you're the one I'm most curious to see, you know that, right? You're the most addicted among all of us here, right?
That's really bad, isn't it?
Yes.
For me, the hardest part was the first week. The first week, this is what you get, and it wasn't much. Like, my usage wasn't that high. It was less than it needed to be for this week. This wasn't the first one, right? This was the second one, right?
WhatsApp is at the top of the list.
So I managed to cut down on Instagram a lot. It's because what it's showing down here is from this week, right? But look, the difference is huge between what I used before and what I was using during these weeks of the challenge.
Wow, congratulations.
It's really crazy.
It must have made a little difference in your life, right?
Wow, yeah, right?
So you managed it every week? I did.
It was extremely difficult and intense. And especially the first week was not easy at all. I mean, I was about to explode in despair. Like, nothing gave me the dopamine I needed. And I was like, wow, I need to use it. You know that feeling when you keep reaching for your phone and realize you can't use it? Then I grab it again, but I can't use it. And I used to do that, like, there's an app that counts how many times I did it. And I did it like 80 times in the first week. While in the last week, in 3 hours, I did it twice, each day.
Wow, what a difference.
It was a lot, but that's just from one phone, right? I did it twice on each phone. Meanwhile, wow.
On the last one.
Did you understand? It's very different from what it is now, and I think the best thing that happened was that I haven't had anxiety since the beginning of the challenge. Like, my mind is much calmer than it was before. And the desperate urge to grab my phone, that was really distressing. Like, all the time I was just fine, and suddenly, where's my phone? Now, I don't have that anymore. If I'm without my phone, I don't panic or wonder where it is. It just stays there.
You were so impressive. Honestly, I didn't think you'd make it.
I didn't think I'd make it the first week.
Congratulations. Congratulations. I hope you keep it up so you don't get anxious again.
It's really hard to keep going, but no.
But just stick with it. At least stay in the challenge, right? So you can make it, right? Look at Andressa's. I was impressed. I really thought she wouldn't make it. But now here we are, our dear friend from Ita. What's up, man? Was it hard?
Let's go.
Man, I think the first week was the hardest, just like I said in the interviews.
The first one? No, the last one?
No, the first one because you are... This is all new. How will I do it? Will I make it or not? I stayed calm about the time since my average was 5 or 6 hours, so I knew I'd make it, but you still get anxious. Then in the following weeks, I saw that it was fine because I was far from going over the goal, from exceeding the time limit, and some habits were already being incorporated into my routine, so everything ended up getting easier as time went by.
And the thing is, he posts 3 videos a day.
Yeah, that was the big thing. That's why I used that strategy of using the extra time I had during the week to record as much as I could for the week. And last week was really tough, some days. I had a problem with my car too, so I had to spend more time on my phone to sort things out.
But you managed.
But I managed too. And the last week was more challenging because of the time itself. The first week and the others after were tougher due to the anxiety of not knowing if you'd make it.
Shall we check the time here?
Let's show the time here.
Come on, real test here.
Time. Was there a rebound effect?
Yes.
This is the week, man. It's showing 5 hours here. I returned to my usual routine, right? This is from this week. The challenge is over. Last week was the final one and it was 3 hours.
Awesome.
You ended up with an average of 246? And there was one day here when I went over. It was the day I had a problem with the car there. I had to take care of it. The following week, which was the 4-hour week, I also averaged 326. On the last day, I spent nearly 7 hours recording all the videos.
Wow, every day. Check out the first and second days.
That's Sunday, right?
Sunday.
I shared that strategy so you can start the week and everything you do by winning.
You'll make the process much easier because you'll already be ahead instead of starting late, starting at a disadvantage.
Then you'll end up trying to make up for that lost time or the disadvantage you created at the beginning of the process throughout the process. And that will make the process much harder.
So,
My advice to everyone was to start by winning.
that was the 4-hour week. The 5-hour week was pretty smooth too. There wasn't a single day I went over 5 hours because it was well below. And the first week, oh, it doesn't even show anymore, so
I was also well under 7 hours, right? I stayed around 5 hours too. So that was it, pretty chill. I recommend this challenge to anyone. Congratulations.
man,
Thank you very much.
that's it.
If you want to improve your time,
The ETA standard, right? And our dear friend Christian and Nick. So how was it, man?
how was it? What, man? I'm already in the 3rd week now. It's just that I thought it was 4 hours, considering the margin of error, like 2% up or down, right? We have that variance, let's say.
No, it would be a margin of error if it were, I don't know, Waze or some app, I don't know, making a video, right? Working and all that. Then it would be like Andressa had an issue with her screen time at work, right? From recording.
Uh-huh.
But even so, she managed.
Perfect. So,
Now it's time to make a little video.
it's time to show the screen, right? Screen time.
Let's show it, let's show it.
Okay. Let it be very clear that Flamino told me they would count the hours on social media. So the productive hours when I edit the video, do everything, and handle some finance stuff that ended up not being counted.
So it ends up hurting my life, right?
Yeah. The 3rd week, the goal was 4 hours of social media. It was 4 hours and 5 minutes. I lost by 5 minutes. But, alright. So the last week when we had the challenge, where is it? Hey. It was 3 hours and 49 minutes. I went over because actually I had told Flamino that I had spent about 8 hours on my phone, but I think I went over. I hadn't checked my smartphone and I had forgotten too.
You know, man, yeah.
I had forgotten that we were still in it, that there was one more week to go. But anyway, as you can see, on Sunday I spent 3 hours and 15 minutes, then on Monday 4 hours and 54 minutes, then on Tuesday. When I found out that we were still in the challenge, it was here on Wednesday. That was the day I also spent 4 hours.
Wow, so
I had already gone over, so I said, I'll try to minimize the damage. You can see the time drops here, but even so, it was still organized, yeah.
But do you think it was beneficial? Do you think the experience was worth it?
It was definitely worth it, because it makes us aware that we're using social media more than we should. Even though we work online now, we can't use that as an excuse to start scrolling through the feed uncontrollably, right? And it's good for you, on the other side of the screen, to realize that, in fact, even if you're not necessarily content creators, you're consuming a lot of content, and it's not necessarily going to add anything to your life. This time was great for building awareness.
Well then, thank you very much for being so open and for joining us.
I appreciate the invitation. Dude, I did that by accident. I don't know why.
Now we're speaking with someone who once had difficulty,
A legend here.
right? Yeah, a lot of difficulty, right? Actually, this whole experiment was his idea. But what about you, Rokat? How was the experience for you? Did you manage?
So, last week we had 4 weeks to complete the challenge. I managed the first 3 weeks, but the 4th week, man.
Seriously? Oh. Dude. Do you have the screen time there?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
That's sad, guys.
Did it cause a rebound effect? Man.
I didn't really feel much of a rebound effect.
No? I didn't feel any rebound effect. Well, then it was worth it. So you became a bit more aware.
Yeah.
You didn't have any rebound effect?
What did I feel? It decreased a lot, especially when it comes to Instagram. Because if you look, the first week won't be here.
The second week was a mistake I made. I recorded it a bit later. Nobody had the first week.
The second week was supposed to be 5 hours, but you can see here, it recorded 6. Hold on. But I really cut down on Instagram use. It was a week when I had a lot of meetings. So like, I'm not the type to use WhatsApp for entertainment, checking statuses, or chatting, so it was all for calls. Calls, Waze, and TikTok also went down.
Oh no, Waze and that kind of thing, like work, we don't count that, right, man? The goal was to stop consuming social media, you know, entertainment.
Then the third week was fine too.
Wow, you use Waze a lot, man.
Yeah, here it's Sao Paulo, right? During rush hour, it's really not much at all.
There you go.
Last week there was, but if you take a look,
Oh, wow.
there was a day when it was an epic relapse.
Wow, an epic relapse.
Ah, but this one here. But look, do you know what it was? Actually, I had an epic relapse on Thursday, which was, I think, the day I had some problems. So I stayed up late on my phone and I fell asleep.
Ah, everything's maxed out here, see? So,
Look,
let's take those hours out. How many is that?
look, 1, 2, 3. No, in theory, it would reduce 8 hours from here, right? It would reduce 8 hours because it was from, yes.
It's still over, but it's not 13, right? Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm an addict, but I do feel like I have a problem because I use my phone as an escape, just like people use food and other things. But there are people who really are addicted, who can't stay away from this thing here. You don't need to stop using your phone. Nowadays, I think it's almost impossible for a person to live without a phone because it's communication, it's work, it's a big part of our lives. But trying to reduce it as much as possible so that at least more than 50% of its use is for something constructive is essential for me. Because man, I think living life through a screen isn't really living life. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the challenge. I hope everyone at home, he'll make a short video. Yeah, I'm going to have to do it. Do this challenge too so you can see for yourself. You don't have to, like, it doesn't have to be, you can do it with your friends, but do it on your own. Set a little limit, see how many hours you're spending on your Android or your iOS. Set a limit to see if you're really addicted or if you're like me, just using your phone to escape from problems.
Isn't that what an addict would say?
Exactly.
That he's an addict.
But I managed to,
I can quit whenever I want.
Hey guys, I tried to keep it polite here. No, we're in this together.
Every addict says that.
Well, there's the challenge for you. I would really like to see your feedback here, to see your comments about which week you're on, what side effects you felt, and which techniques you used to reduce your screen time. People really help each other out in the comments here, so if you have a really good technique to overcome this, share it here. You'll help a lot of people. You might not have a big social media platform to share what you learn, but you have the comments here. And a lot of people read them, believe me, a lot of people read them. And remember, when you have a really difficult goal to achieve, look for a friend, look for someone who also has the same goal and make it a challenge, make it a bet. Making a public commitment is a powerful motivator to get things done. And if you don't have that person, you have this channel here where I'll be sharing more ideas, videos like this one, for other things, for other habits. So follow along here and you'll see more videos like this one coming up. If you like this video, leave a like. You'll help this video reach more people and it can benefit many others. See you in the next experiment.
Man, be careful, bye. We only have one life. Don't miss out on what's happening around you, man. When you're having lunch with your mom, put this down. When you're at a family barbecue. Sometimes on the subway, man. Start paying a little attention to what's happening around you. Start listening to some music. With your phone put away, you know? I hope this message, this video that Flamina made really hits you hard. Because if it's not like that, if you don't take this hit and realize how much this steals from your life, you're not going to stop using this. I want to see things with my own eyes or sometimes looking through a lens. Because I'm sure that many times in special moments, you're more worried about recording that moment than actually experiencing it.